Hello guys, welcome to the video. I just want to do a really quick video on what to do if you didn't get a job straight away. I know that it can be really stressful when you're trying to come here and you're ready to get a job and you have this exact plan of like, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to get housing, everything's going to go great. And I understand that that does not happen for everyone, and it is totally okay if that's happened to you. So if you're in a situation where you haven't got a job yet and you're kind of starting to stress out and wonder like, what should you do? Should you go to Canada? Like, what are your next steps? This is the video for you. Firstly, if you're new here, I'm Caitlin. I make a lot of videos on working holidays. I've been in Canada for the last 3 years. Wow, that's crazy. 3 years is insane. All right, so I wear jeans. Obviously, I've got rid of the bike shorts. I can't wear those anymore. I wear a jumper, and then over the jumper, I've got a jacket that Stefan bought me. Very cute. I lived in Whistler for 5 seasons, 3 winters, so I feel pretty confident in giving you guys this advice. Obviously, as always, this is just my own experience, so don't take everything I say as exact science, but this is what I would recommend if this is the situation that you're in. So for starters, normally all the winter jobs, or a majority of them, go live around July or August, and then from there they continue opening up. So that's specifically like Whistler and the Mountain. I know that that's when their jobs go live, but then places like Banff and Sunshine, they sometimes don't go live till later in like September or October. So even if you didn't get those first jobs that you applied for, just know that there will be continuous jobs being posted throughout the season. If you're I haven't done this for a long time. If you're specifically looking to get a job in Whistler and you want to work for the Mountain, as I said, the jobs go live around July, August. A lot of the jobs get taken immediately. So because a lot of them are entry-level jobs, as soon as someone applies, it's not usually based on resumes and that kind of thing. It's usually based on, you know, first come, first serve. I don't know the exact formula that they use. Again, it's an entry-level job generally, so we're not looking for experience or skills. There might be some factors that they're looking for. I would assume at this point for entry-level jobs, they're using some sort of AI to help read through resumes and choose the right candidates. I would recommend making sure your resume is up to date, making sure it's really clear, really simple. Make sure you include a cover letter if there's an option to include a cover letter, and yeah, just make sure all your information is as accurate as possible, so that if that AI or whoever goes through, it's very easy for them to see where you're at, like where you live, have you got your work permit, etc., which again is totally okay that you haven't got your work permit yet. That's very normal, so don't stress about that. Another thing I should point out is like, don't feel too disheartened if you don't get the original jobs that you applied for. Like I said, it could be random. It's nothing probably against you. It can just be, you know, maybe there were other people who were slightly better or people that were in faster. So don't feel like you've done anything wrong if you don't get those original jobs that you applied for. The jobs might have already been filled when you applied, so it's nothing against you personally. As I said, the majority of the jobs go really fast. So if you don't get the first ones that you really hope for, don't stress. There are going to be other options. What I would recommend is to continue applying for the other ones that are open, just so that you are still putting yourself out there. I know that Vale Resorts, Whistler Blackcomb specifically, suggest not to apply for multiple jobs at once, I guess, because it kind of like overloads it. If you're applying for all this like similar jobs in the same department, then your name is just going to keep popping up, and they're basing it on like you in which role you should go in rather than like each role individually. So don't overload the system, but still I would recommend applying for different departments if you didn't get your first one. So for instance, say you really want to be a lifty and you didn't get that job, then I personally would recommend looking into food and beverage roles, mainly because they're one of the biggest departments in terms of staff. Food and beverage need a lot of staff. You can usually assume that food and beverage are going to need staff, and especially as the season goes on, you'll notice that departments start hiring again because they have a drop off, or like say people don't end up coming or people leave around Christmas. You'll see that we continue hiring through the season. So that's personally why I would recommend food and beverage as either your first or second option, because hopefully you end up getting a job. Other departments such as like lift ops and then ski school, those are the ones that generally fill up the fastest, especially ski school, because that's really important and it's like a skilled role. So if you didn't get your first option, that's what I would recommend for your second. Again, don't be too disheartened if you don't see that job posting live right now, because hopefully it'll go up again. Say that you didn't get your first options and you're not sure what to do at this point. Got another video that I'll put up somewhere that explains what your sort of thinking should be around this, because I think it's really important to decide whether you are more tied to the place or the job. So for me, I applied basically everywhere. I was really set on Banff. If you didn't know, I was really, really keen for Banff. And then I was just like applying for multiple jobs, and I ended up getting a job in Whistler, and it worked out. So for me, my priority was staff housing. So as soon as I got a job with staff housing, for me and Stefan, that was it. That was all I cared about. If you are really, really keen for Whistler, which is so fair if you are, if you're really, really keen for Whistler and you're like, no, I don't care about anything else, I just want to be in Whistler specifically, then I would recommend, if you haven't got a job with the mountain yet and you're getting a little bit worried, to start looking at jobs elsewhere in the town. So Whistler is a town. There are multiple businesses. There's multiple restaurants, bars. There's so many different options that you can work at. I'll try and put a more comprehensive list here, but some options for you is like hotels. We have a lot of hotels. As I said, there's different restaurants in the town. There's a lot of retail stores. Then there's other jobs like snow removal, that kind of thing. So definitely broaden your search. Don't just think about working for the mountain. There are so many different options for you. Keep an eye out on Facebook, on Indeed, that kind of thing. I would also recommend emailing businesses personally. That's a better way to contact them. Show that you're really keen. Give them all the information that they need to know when you're coming, that you want to work full time, that you need staff housing, whatever it is. Make it really, really clear so that hopefully you can get a job. Keep trying. If you're not really invested in Whistler and you just want to come to Canada, then that's when I would broaden my search or your search to other towns. So like I said, you have different ski resorts like Banff. Banff has multiple ski resorts. So if you really, really want to work on the mountain and work on a ski hill, then start applying for different ski resorts. And you also have the option of just jobs in town. So say Revelstoke is a town, you can apply for jobs in town there. That's how I would sort of broaden things. If you potentially have a job but don't have housing yet, don't worry about that either. I know that's really, really scary. My advice would be to keep looking for jobs with staff housing anyway as a backup. That's always good, because anyone that I've met that's come here and haven't got staff housing and had to live in private, all of them have told me that their top thing was getting into staff housing. It might be better for some people, maybe some like older people coming here, or maybe want to stay more than a season. If you're invested in coming here and having fun and you don't want to waste a lot of money on rent, then like you definitely want to try and get staff housing. If you have a job with the mountain or with a place that does offer staff housing but you didn't get staff housing, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get staff housing through the whole season. What generally happens is each department has an amount of staff housing available, and then say a bunch of people have staff housing, and then like I said before, maybe they don't end up coming, maybe they leave early, then that means that their bed opens up. I can't give specifics on how it works with who they give their beds to. I'm sure there's a system, but I have known multiple people that have come and worked for the mountain without staff housing, and then through the season beds open up and then they get staff housing. So don't feel like you're not going to get staff housing. So something that I recommend is that you look for some short-term accommodation. So whether that's like trying to find private housing, like shared housing, even if you find someone that just has like a month lease or a few weeks or something, staying at the hostels. So you can start looking into the hostels in Whistler, and then maybe emailing, see if they do long term, even if it's a few weeks, whatever it is. That's probably still a cheaper option than staying at an Airbnb or that kind of thing. Plan some sort of accommodation, even if it's only for a month or 2 months or just weeks even. That's better than nothing. And I know that's really, really scary coming here without long-term solution for housing, but if you're willing to take the risk and you have some money behind you that you feel like, okay, I can spend like this much money on rent for a little bit, and then I, will have no money after that, that's better than nothing, and hopefully things work out for you. If you don't have like really any savings behind you, I would not recommend that option at all. You'll run out of money very, very fast, and then you'll be in like a really sticky situation. So if you don't have staff housing, you don't have any sort of housing yet, but you still want to come here and you have money behind you that you're like, okay, I'm willing to spend this much money, like maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever it is, on some sort of short-term accommodation, then like that's what I would recommend, and hopefully something opens up for you. A lot of the time people end up getting into staff housing around like December, January, so that means only like 1, 2, 3 months of trying to find somewhere to live, which can be really scary. Like I know a lot of people that have had to move from like Airbnb to different places, and it is rough and it is scary, but I think that's just the price of coming here and living here. It's especially Whistler in winter, it's a magical, amazing place. Working for the mountain, you get so many benefits, so still worth coming. And you get a free ski pass, so you get to ski as much as you can, and there's still so many benefits. But obviously the housing is a really, really scary part, and it's totally okay if you feel really scared and not sure what to do. The thing that I've noticed is a lot of people have been offered a job with housing but then haven't really gotten any information about their housing, and very like unsure on whether they even have it. There's a stage of getting hired where you've been hired but you haven't actually spoke to like a real person yet. You don't really have any concrete way of contacting someone and getting confirmation on your housing, which again, I know that's so scary. So just know that there's a process and a timeline of this, like getting hired, applying for housing, getting approved for housing, and then getting information about your job. When you're in that stage, it feels really, really scary and feels like you have no idea what's going on, and it feels like you need to know right then. And I definitely get that. Like that was me when I left. I was leaving in September, and at that point I hadn't even got approved for housing. And I was like, I don't even know what's happening. It feels like it's right there for you and that you're about to leave. Just know that there's still many, many months till the season starts, and things are gonna progress as the days go on. And then at a certain point, you'll feel much more confident. There's just a stage where you're really unsure. My recommendation for that is, if you have someone that you can contact, like if you have emailed a recruiting manager or a manager or someone, try and email them and get confirmation, but don't bombard them. Like don't send like multiple emails being like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, because they have a lot going on. Trust me, like especially from what I've seen, and I'm sure there's like many more complicated departments than where I worked, but I was a manager in food and beverage, and even I know that like how much goes into the hiring. It's very, very complicated. A lot of it's a lot. So please don't bombard someone. Try and sit with the unknown for a little bit, and I promise that it'll end up working out as the months go on. This is kind of how it happened for me. I applied around July, August, got told that I would get staff housing by the person who I interviewed with, who was ended up being my manager. And then I applied for staff housing, which usually, well, for Whistler and for the mountain is a different portal, I guess I would say. So there's like a portal for onboarding, and then there's a portal for housing. It's like a separate thing. So you apply there. I found out that I got approved for housing and where I was going to live in late September, I believe, because I was already in Canada. That's when I found out like exactly where I was going to live, because also there's different staff housings, which I have spoke about before. So that's when I found out like where I was living and what was going on. Maybe like October-ish is when you get in contact with a manager, and then they tell you where you're going to be, which unit you're going to be in, or like, this is for food and beverage. I don't know about the other departments. I assume something similar. Then you get told like when your training days are going to be, how your first weeks are going to work. And then you're much more clear on what's going on. So yeah, just know that even if your journey of getting a job and getting a house hasn't gone exactly how you would have liked, don't stress too much. Things will work out, even though it's not working out as linear as you would have hoped. There are options for you. Some people come without a job. A lot of people come without a house. The majority of them have a happy ending and have a good Whistler story. There are some people who have bad Whistler stories. For instance, I know people, not personally, but I know of people who have been scammed. So another important thing is making sure that if you are looking for private housing, do not offer any money to someone if you haven't met them or haven't been to the house. That's how you're going to get scammed. People do that, which is terrible, but it happens. So do not give any money up front. So there are people that have bad Whistler stories, and I would assume it's generally because of money. And like I said, if you don't have any money behind you, I wouldn't recommend the option of just coming here without a job or without a house. Only do that if you have some savings that you're willing to spend to get settled. Then once you're here and settled, you're going to feel like, okay, that hard part is over and I'm okay. But right now, when it's like feeling really lost and feeling like you don't know what the right option is, I know that's really scary, and just know that you're not alone. Many people have gone through the same thing. So just keep trying and be open to other options. Even if that wasn't the job that you originally wanted, at least it's something, and at least it gets you here. And then, things can change from there. People, you're not stuck in that job forever. Maybe you can find another option, and maybe that job ends up being better than the original job that you wanted. Like Stefan never wanted to work in food and beverage, and yet he ended up being a great manager and having like a great time and running his own hut on a mountain. So things end up working out, whether it's the way that you planned or not. And that's part of coming here, part of the adventure, even though it's scary and terrifying, maybe kind of annoying and maybe kind of stressful. That is part of doing working holiday, and it makes you stronger and it makes you a better person. So I always say, when you're coming here for a working holiday, you can't have comfort and routine and safety and have the adventure and fun and like craziness of coming over to Canada for a ski season. Like, you can't have both at once. You have to give up those things to have these things. Eventually you can kind of manage both, which is where I'm at, but you have to give up the comfort and the safety, because that was really, really hard for me, because I'm a planner. I like to know what's going on. I like to have everything down to a T, and I hate the unknown. And then there was a certain point that it clicked for me. I think it was when I was getting my IEC visa that I was like, oh, I can't have both these things at the same time. I need to like really lean into like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but like I'm going to get through it, and it's going to be better than I thought, and it's going to be scary and terrifying, but that's going to be part of it. So since I changed into that mindset, I think that really, really helped. So if you're feeling like that, do not worry. I think it's going to be okay. If you need more help, which is totally fine if you do, I'm always happy to help. I actually, as of recording this video, it might change in the future. I'll put it in the description. I just released a sample of my working holiday guide that I'm gonna be publishing soon. So exciting. So if you want a copy of that, it's more about the IEC visa, but still, if you're interested and want to sign up to find out about my full working holiday guide, which will be out one day, just go to the description and subscribe there. I would really, really appreciate that. If you want to know more, I've got so many videos on how to get a job and anything to do with coming to Whistler and working holidays. So make sure you check out the rest of this playlist. And if you want more help, just message me on Instagram or comment or wherever, and I'm happy to help, because I love helping you guys come here. If I can help you get a job or give you any advice in any way, like that's like so important to me. So all the best. I really appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.